This is Teach Like a Champion, strategy number 34, call and response. You will need the following materials before you get started: the Teach Like a Champion 2.0 field guide, paper and a pencil, and energy for practice. Before we dive in, take a look at this classroom and reflect on the following questions. What is the ratio of teacher to student talk? And is this an engaging and captivating classroom? Why?
About implicit differentiation. But this is really just the changes, which you already know. Right? Okay, so I'm just going to work a couple of more examples of it. And then we're going to try to see a pattern in the way it works so that we can write down a quicker way to do it, right? Which is, I alluded to this last week. So this will not take up the whole time, and afterwards we can talk about anything you want to, right? Any kind of questions you have with the midterm coming up. So let's start with an example. Let's say we're going to do a function, say 3x squared y minus sine of x y plus y to the 1/2 equals, let's say, x defined function. Right? So implicitly defined functions are when you're going to have powers of y or functions of y on one side also. And it equals 0. Okay, so whatever this expression is, it equals 0. So when we take a derivative, the derivative will also equal 0.
Hopefully you noticed that the teacher was talking the entire clip. The ratio of teacher talk was 100%. Ideally, we want students talking, responding to questions, or interacting with each other and the teacher multiple times throughout a lesson to increase engagement and build energy and momentum in class. The question is, how can we get more student involvement and student talk within a lesson? Participants will be able to complete and practice the Practicing Cues activity and the Teach Like a Champion field guide. Let's see Navigator teachers practice this technique. As you watch this video, look for how often do the students speak? And what does the teacher do to let students know when to respond?
All right, today we're going to do addition with regrouping. My first add-in is 158. 158. My second add-in is 194. 194. Stack them like Pringles and start in the ones. All right, you just told me to start in the ones. I already stacked them for you. What is the sum of 8 and 4? 12. Can the tens share a column with the ones? No way! Hey, scoot over, 10. Scoot over, 10. I'm going to scoot my 10 over. Now I've got 1 10 plus 5 tens plus 9 tens. What is 1 plus 5 plus 9? 15! All right, there's my 15. Oh, but can 100 share a column with the tens? No way! Hey, scoot over, 100. Scoot over, 100. Over. Now I've got 1 plus 1 plus
8 plus 4 is 12, but you can't share a bed. So I bumped the 1 on over to the tens column. 1 plus 5 plus 9 equals 15, but you can't share a bed. So I put the 1 over to the hundreds, plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3.
Different. Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
Please pause this video to reflect on the questions either aloud with a group or silently by yourself. Now that you've had a chance to reflect, we see that students are constantly speaking. The teacher is asking multiple questions so that the students are responding frequently. The teacher does multiple things to let students know when to respond. She points to the class, uses tone variations in her voice, and students seem to have practiced the regrouping chant before, so students knew when to respond. Why do you think this technique would be important for student engagement? Please pause this video to discuss with a group or silently reflect. This technique is important for student engagement because if it's done well, it provides high energy and fun in the classroom. Call and response reinforces the culture in your classroom with teamwork, fun, and following directions. Students will be more engaged when they know they will have a participatory role in the discussion and that it can come at any time. So we've come to our core idea. Call and response means using group choral response to build energetic, positive engagement. So when can you utilize call and response? First, you can have students repeat what you say or a familiar phrase. We saw that in the See It video. The teacher said, stack 'em like Pringles and the students say, start in the ones. That is a phrase that the students already knew. You can also report answers to problems or questions. For example, tell me your answer to problem number 1 on 3. 1, 2, 3. Teachers can reinforce new information or a strong answer. For example, yes, Sam, that's a nucleus. Class, what's that organelle called? And students would respond with nucleus. Another type of call and response is to review answers or information learned earlier. For example, what is the distance across a circle and through the midpoint? 1, 2, 3. Lastly, students can solve an answer in real time. For example, what is 6 times 4? And students would respond with 24. How can you cue your class that you want a response? First, you can use group names, such as saying class or fourth graders. You can also prompt students by counting. For example, what is the answer to number 15? 3, 2, 1. And students respond. Teachers can gesture towards the class. We saw that in the See It video with the teacher pointing. You can also snap, put a finger to your ear, anything, as long as the students know what your gesture means. Lastly, teachers can shift the tone and volume of their voice, such as 6 times 4 is, and students respond because of the change in my voice. For your practice session, read and practice with a partner the Practicing Cues activity on page 362 of your Teach Like a Champion 2.0 field guide. Have your partner be a student to respond as you practice the sample questions. Then switch. Pause this video to complete the activity. Now that you have finished practicing with your partner, share any insights you and your partner observed with your group. We've come to our final reflection. Please pause this video to complete the partial multi-flow map. The event is, teacher uses multiple forms of call and response during a lesson. What would the effects be? Please be sure to reference the entire chapter in your Teach Like a Champion 2.0 field guide and watch the Teach Like a Champion provided videos. Thank you for watching the Call and Response Professional Development.